Welcome back to another episode of the Vision Pod, where guests are handpicked to bring value to your everyday life. Enjoy. Today we have Jessica here. Thanks for coming on.
Mm-hmm. You bet.
So, you have a business right now. How did you get into that industry? How did you start your business?
Started the business in 2006. I was approached by an oil and gas company called Encana. Now they're Oventive. I think they've changed
Okay.
hands, but they were having problems with a bear at a job site, and I think this was close to the time when there was some bomb threats and stuff. There was just some concern about safety on job sites,
Okay, yeah.
and specifically with wildlife in this case. And so we got a phone call asking us if we had somebody who could deal with the wildlife situation.
Okay.
Yep.
And so how did you know how to deal with it?
Well, I had some experience, but also my dad had more experience, and so did my husband at the time.
Okay.
And so the three of us had a conversation about how we can deal with this. We also had quite a few friends that were in the CO service, and that was kind of our life because we were
What's CO?
Conservation officer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
And we were guide outfitters, so we were quite familiar with wildlife, and have had quite a few encounters with wildlife. So, so my dad was very keen on helping them with that.
What would you say your scariest encounter was?
Probably, I would say in the bush. I was on a horse.
Okay.
And I was leading a ride with probably 15 to 20 kids. And I saw a bear, but nobody else saw it. My horse could smell it. But my horse was used to smelling bears because we were around bears quite a bit.
Yeah.
And I tried to figure out, okay, do I have to take this entire ride? How do I get them out of here and get them safe? That was really scary because there's so many kids. Wow. And this bear was so close and I could see it, and we all had to ride past it. So I was at the back.
Yeah.
So I was just, going through all these scenarios of how I was going to deal with this. I actually just chose to be really quiet. And I was very young actually at the time as well.
Wow.
Yeah.
So do you think if you said anything or like got spooked and then freaked the kids out, do you think that?
Yes, because if I would have told anybody what was happening, the kids would have got scared, then the horses would have got scared, then they would have been not in a line, not quiet, and then the bear would have got scared, or could have, or gotten to, changed into protection mode or whatever. At that point it was just an encounter, and he was watching us, and we were just quietly filing by him, and it was a good decision. Yeah,
okay. So for bear attacks, is it only the hungry bears that would attack? Like if they don't have any food or?
Well, they'll be more keen to get food for sure if they're super hungry. Different times of the year, that chance of, when you encounter a bear, them attacking changes significantly with how hungry they are for sure. Yeah. But more the concern is when they're protecting something. That's just such a natural thing.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
They're kind of their territory.
Yeah. If they're protecting their cubs or they're protecting their food. So both of those things, if you run into a bear in that presenting like that, you're in trouble.
Okay. And would you say that's kind of what you're passionate about, or what would you say you're passionate about?
I'm passionate about finding the best way in a situation. So whether it's my background is training horses, so it's behavior. I'm really interested in behavior of people, animals, and then into different situations. I think it's so interesting how people behave in a stressful situation and then in a calm situation. Same with animals. Things change so quickly when you put stress on anything.
Yeah.
And that really interests me.
For sure.
Yeah. Because I like to, I love people. And so I want to learn more about how people work. I also like protecting people. I think that's how I'm made. As a kid, I always protected my friends. I was the person who would stand up and be like, no, that's not going to happen. We're going to do this instead. And at a very young age. So Protecting people is something that I find a lot of satisfaction out of. And I find there's other people in our culture that really like that too.
For sure, yeah. I was talking to somebody and he was saying that a leader is simply someone who sees a problem and solves it. So are you a problem solver then?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. A creative problem solver. I would apply that to any part of my life. I would get a lot of satisfaction out of finding a solution that works for the most amount of people. That to me is the coolest thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, what are some ways you express your creativity then?
I really enjoy music. And I enjoy it for many reasons. What it does to a person, how it aligns you, how it can focus you, and then also heal you. So to me, it's a really giving kind of passion, actually. You give and get a lot in a healthy way.
Yeah, for sure.
I think we need to connect in different ways, and creativity is one of them. And if you can find ways in your life to connect in a healthy way, you found gold, actually.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, so a lot of entrepreneurs are always swamped by how many ideas they have.
Yes.
And everything that's going on.
Yes.
So how do you deal with all of your ideas, and then how do you know when is the right time to go for it? Because a lot of these ideas are good ideas. It's just a lot of them are also bad ideas.
That is a great question. And that is something that I've spent a lot of my time dealing with in my life, because I have a lot of ideas. I have books of ideas, business ideas, business plans. I found a way to bet on horses and win because I trained horses. Like I found some really cool things, but timing is a big deal. You can, especially with a horse, if you can observe the correct time to change a behavior or to present something or to introduce something, you advance so quickly. But if your timing's off, it will take you so much time to get the same thing done. And I think that's the same thing in life. So I have really taken my ideas and I do run them by God. I put them in a book, I pray over them, and then I really do ask, like, is this the time for this? Or do I need to, I also believe you get other ideas, for other people.
Yeah.
So I find I get ideas and then I see other people do them. And I'm like, when I was young, I'd be like, oh, I wish, I think I did something wrong.
Okay.
Like, oh, I should have done something quicker. Right. I should have moved on that. I should have put more energy into that. But it wasn't actually for me. So sometimes you get ideas that you actually should give to other people.
Interesting.
And give it to them, even if it's a really good idea. Mm-hmm. I've had some solid ideas and businesses that I've given to other people and watched them succeed and gone, I'm actually okay with that. Mm-hmm. Because I think I was 20 and I was asking God about this question. What do I do with an idea that is really good, but I can't actually achieve? And he said, I will always give you something to give. So I was free to give away.
Cool.
Because he would always replenish me.
Yeah.
So I could give all my best ideas away if I wanted to, and he would give me more. Because there's no end to his good ideas. So I don't have to worry about that.
Yeah, that's the thing. Everybody's getting kind of worried about AI, but at the end of the day, there is a God out there who gives humans ability to create and gives ideas to us. Mm-hmm. And so we can be creative with what he says.
And then you can have peace in your creativity and in your ideas. You don't have to strive, and because that will actually distract you and stop you from doing a good job. So you can have peace and move ahead with great confidence because we serve a really big God. Mm-hmm.
So how do you know you're hearing God's voice when you're praying about timing?
Yeah, so that's a practice that you... it's like lifting weights. It's like anything. You need to practice it and do it. Yeah. And you need to fail. And you need to go, oh, that's what that was. And you need to spend time with God. Like, if your friend walked in the front door, you would know who it was just by their way they were walking. You would know who it was. And God's voice is the same. Like you do need to know and be familiar with his voice. I believe that it's like more like how they had radios in cars? They don't really have radios. Do you remember radios?
I have a radio in my car.
I think we're like radios and we can tune into whatever we want. So that's our free will. We can tune in and focus on whatever we want. I believe God is speaking to everybody and we just need to turn on the right radio station.
Mm.
So, how much time do you spend finding your radio station and listening? So, when you do that, then you start to be like, oh, and then you listen, and you have to, you can't do it without faith, because faith has feet, so you have to have action.
Yeah. So how often do you spend time praying and kind of trying to figure out what God is saying to you?
Yeah. I would say that's constant.
Okay.
Yeah. I have to align myself. I all the time. I need to, and especially if there's a lot of stress. I've had some, good amount of stress in my life, and I think everybody goes through that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very important to me, even to the point where, I've walked into a health food store and been like, I know I need to take something, but I'm not exactly sure what it is. So, okay, God, you know where my body's at, and I don't have the technology to put my finger on something, and
Right. Yeah.
So can you just let me know?
Yeah.
So yeah, he showed me what to get, and I actually didn't take it. So I put it on my counter, and thinking that that's probably a good idea. And then I went and got some testing done, and they said the exact bottle of what I had bought.
Crazy.
That's what they recommended I take.
Wow.
I took a picture when I went home and sent it back to the doctor, and I was like, was this what you're talking about? And she said, yeah, that's the one.
Wow.
So
crazy.
So then, those things happen in your life, and you can really be clear that God is speaking to you.
Yeah.
He is showing you, like, he cares about even the small stuff.
Yeah,
so yeah.
For sure. That's awesome. Yeah. You kind of have to, you have to know that, like, I made it a point, I wrote it on my wall. I said, I can hear God's voice. Mm-hmm. And then when you write that and you say that out loud, it just like establishes it, and then you know that, yes, I can trust this. Mm-hmm. And then you see it more and more, and you pray for things, and they come to pass, and it's good. Yeah.
And there's hears, like, some people see things, God has so many ways of speaking to you. And I think it's everybody. I have people who would say they're not a Christian, but the way they speak, they actually are hearing God. Mm-hmm. They just don't know it yet. It's so neat.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, he's for everyone, for sure.
Yeah.
So yeah, you said you've been through some hard times, and God's been there for you. Do you have a cool story about that?
Yeah, like I feel like with my kids, we've had some pretty traumatic things, and God has just protected us from pretty difficult times. My son has a brain tumor, but he is still alive. He's had it since he was 4, and he is, doing great. That's not a small thing.
Yeah.
And so, I think daily, I really believe that there are daily miracles that we see all the time. I would say he wouldn't say that about himself, but I would say.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And, yeah.
Yeah. So do you make it a point to kind of focus on the bright side and the good aspects of things? Would you say? Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's really important what you focus on. Not a toxic positivity that everything's great, because actually things are really tough for a lot of people, and myself included. That's a real thing. But there's so much goodness as well. Like, God is at work, and to take off your lenses of negativity, I think is very important. And then to discipline yourself to live like that. I feel like I've lived a life like that. And I love God's sense of humor. So it's important to focus on other aspects of life.
So I've never heard of toxic positivity. What is that?
It comes from a good place. I think it's when people try to be positive in a difficult situation, but instead of allowing themselves to grieve or allowing themselves to see the reality of the difficulty, they choose to just see all the positivity. So it's an unbalanced positivity.
Okay. Yeah.
It's almost fake.
Okay. Yeah. So would you say that's kind of like what Solomon's talking about in Ecclesiastes, where he says there's a time for mourning, a time for like joy, a time for...
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's a good point, that you don't always need to There's no need to fake it.
No, and such good things come out of grief and sadness, like beautiful things. So you kind of rob yourself of a really um, a depth to your life
Okay.
and a beauty to your life when you don't acknowledge that you are grieving or that something is really difficult.
Okay,
Yeah.
like what would you say that has come out of your life from grieving?
Um, a very deep awareness of heaven and an
Okay.
ability to live daily with an understanding that you are a citizen of heaven.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, probably one of the most quoted verses in the Bible, seek first the kingdom and all
Mm-hmm.
these things shall come. So what
So be added to you.
added to you? Yeah. So
Yeah.
what does that mean to you and what do you think that means?
That is an invitation to peace.
How so?
Because when you seek first the kingdom of God, um, what's the kingdom of God? Right? What's the fruit of the spirit? To me, those are very similar. Love, joy, peace,
Right.
patience,
Yeah.
kindness. Yeah. And when you focus on those things and cultivate those things in your life, um, you can handle God adding those other things to your life.
Mm.
It's very difficult to handle success. You have to be a very strong person to handle success well.
Mm-hmm.
And to not let it sway you. You have to be able to handle if God wants to give you billions of dollars, you're gonna need some real solid
Character.
in your life.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a big burden.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah. Yeah, I heard it talked about that kingdom means king's dominion, so it's basically submitting to ultimately God's authority over your life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of not funny to me, but like God is sovereign. Like you can
Yeah.
submit, you don't have to submit. God
Yeah.
is still God.
Yeah,
Like it
for
doesn't
sure.
actually matter what
Right.
you
Yeah.
it does matter what you do for yourself and where what your life's gonna look
Right.
like.
Yeah.
But God's God.
That's right.
Yeah. You can submit to that or not.
Yeah. Every knee will bow.
Yeah. Oh yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so how did you grow your company so quickly?
Yeah. Following God. He gives me great ideas and so then I act on them.
Okay.
And there's difficulty for sure, but he blesses that.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's been super enjoyable, really risky. But it's calculated risks, but I think risk is very important. Yeah. Taking risks, being willing to do something that you have never done before, but you kind of think you have the skills for. Yeah.
Yeah. So has there been something that like an idea you got from God that really took your business to the next level?
Yes. Partnering with people you may never think to partner with.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And then even what partnership looks like, because it can look like an all-in thing when you partner with somebody, but it actually doesn't have to be. You can have different levels of partnership that is very beneficial to business. I am all for working with people, not being a lone ranger. That's not a wise thing to me in business or in the kingdom of God. Yeah. We are meant to work together. So finding creative ways to work with a diverse people groups.
So if you're out there, how can you find a team to build around if you're looking to like go in together instead of just be alone?
Yes. Find people that you admire and find people that are much better at things than you.
Okay.
Yeah. And see if they'll work with you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Because, there's many reasons for that, but I think that's a solid business plan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah.
Yeah. You know your skills and know what you can bring to the table, but look for people who you really enjoy being with.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because other people will want to be with them too.
So is that kind of what you did? You reached out to who you really enjoy?
Absolutely. Okay. Yeah. If I don't like working with somebody, I do not work with them.
Okay.
Yeah. I had a business outfitting, like guiding outfitting, and a lot of my clients were business owners from all over the world. So I really listened to what they said for, their many years of experience, like years and years of experience of business. And they said, clients and people who work with you, don't settle. Yeah.
Yeah. Huh. So, do you find you work with people with similar personality than you or kind of opposite and balance out, would you say?
I'm not looking for people to balance me out that work for me. I'm looking for people to do what they do very well.
Hmm.
So they don't have to have the same personality as me, as
Yeah.
they don't. I don't so much as look at for personality. I look for character.
Mhm.
So what kind of character do they have? Especially in my business, it's security. It's like you need to be very good at what you do and very reliable.
Mhm.
So I look for certain character traits. A lot of people can be um, taught, or a lot of people, there's people who want to grow their skills, and there's some basics that if they have, they can grow and be very successful.
For
So,
sure. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I think your business is very unique. Can you kind of explain a little bit more what your business does?
Yeah, sure. So the business is called Wilderness Protection Solutions. So we provide solutions to wildlife encounters, preventing them, um, putting policies in place on job sites that are remote, that can help um, just help people work in a safe way with wildlife in the area,
Okay.
whether it's cougars, wolves, bears. It's an issue in remote work sites.
Hmm.
So we provide solutions with people on site. So they're there, they have a firearm, and they're there to protect the people they're working with. Also, in different kind of job sites. So it requires different kind of people, different skill sets. We also developed a training program so that people can become wildlife monitors, because there's really no standardized training for this.
Okay.
So we've
Okay.
had to produce courses that are recognized by the government and business.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. I think yeah, I saw a video. They say like drop shipping was huge, and then it was day trading, and then now they think it's making courses.
Oh
Because
yeah.
everyone is making courses. It's like it's a different course than your course, but it's probably the easiest thing to sell, the ultimate dream, and then lie about how fast you can do it. Is a popular it's a popular thing to do right now.
Yeah. Unfortunately, the with the people that work for me, they have to have a very interesting and unique skill set. So
Hmm.
you can take a course, and I could give you a course on how to be a wildlife monitor, but I wouldn't hire you
Yeah,
unless you
yeah,
had a lot of other experience and
yeah.
understanding. Yeah.
Would it be like calmness under pressure kind of thing?
Yep, and directly and a very you need to be very savvy with firearms.
Okay.
Also, reading the land. You need to be able to go and understand the biology of, you know, the climate you're in, what's growing, what's in season, what the bears will be eating. Yeah, I need to know a lot about behavior of
Hmm.
people, behavior of animals. And,
Yeah,
in this situation, when people get scared, they act very different than they normally would,
yeah,
and same with animals.
yeah.
So
It's like the drowning person who wants to be saved but doesn't want to be saved at the same time.
yeah, drowns the 2-year-old, beside it,
Yeah,
trying to,
yeah.
yeah. And so you need somebody who is really calm, and also calm under stress, and very confident in their skills.
Okay.
Yeah, very confident.
So do you have with all your ideas, have you started a couple more businesses to on the side, or do you just stick with the one?
No, I've had a few businesses,
Okay.
like the guiding outfitting business. I trained horses for many years. I was a riding instructor for quite a few years. I also taught swimming when I was younger. I started a
Okay.
business in the backyard pools and stuff.
Yeah.
Um, and that would probably be the most. Oh well, I actually I did sell beef
Okay.
for a while.
Okay.
So I would take beef from Alberta and then bring it to BC
Okay.
and sell,
Bird of
like,
beef.
yeah, naturally,
Yeah.
hormone
Yeah.
free stuff. Yeah.
So do you find that in today's culture there's like a lost sense of like the outdoors and nature and creation?
It's like a broken connection. Yeah,
Okay.
definitely. And I feel like it makes people sad. It makes
Mhm.
children sad, because they're missing out on something that they need.
Mhm.
Um, I feel a lot of people are disconnected from some important things, and being out in the wilderness, can bring you to your knees, quite literally.
Yeah.
And I am very, that's why really we were doing the guiding outfitting, taking people into the wilderness. Um, it was quite wealthy people, like the demographic of people that were coming on that trip were people who didn't have a lot of no's in their life. So, or a lot of difficulty at that point. And so everybody needs to just be undone in the mountains.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So is it a lot of like out in the mountains where you guys go?
With the wildlife monitoring?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
It's remote work sites. A lot in BC on the coast. We've gone to fish farms. We've gone to, I mean, yeah.
So what's your favorite like scenery? Would you say like a forest or a mountain or a river, lake?
Yeah, that's a good question. I'm a big fan of water and mountains. So I would say like a wicked lake in the mountains would be just like a really remote, beautiful colored water. It's usually really cold, so
yeah. Do you swim?
Yes.
Nice.
I definitely would go in.
Yeah.
That would be you could fly me there right now. We could just go over there and do a podcast in the mountains.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
Yeah, that would be. Yeah, the wildlife podcast are pretty cool. Out in the mountains.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think like there's something about cold water that's really good for you, but
yes, difficult but invigorating.
Yeah. Have you ever done any cold plunges?
I have. Yes, I have done some cold plunges. I have this black one that I put on my deck in the wintertime. And Chase really has been the best at that. I think he almost got pneumonia. He stayed in so long.
Oh, wow.
I was like, you got to get out, kid. Yeah, no, I think it's good for you.
So, when you're dealing with risk, is there any point that you're like, this is just too much. I can't do this, or are you pretty much open to do everything?
I'm pretty, it's that hearing and then moving in confidence. So if I've heard that I got the go ahead, that I have an open door to do this, not much would stop me.
So have you pretty much gone all in a few times?
Oh yeah, I feel like every day you go all in.
Okay.
Are you kidding? Yes, every day you go all in.
Every day. So what does that look like?
That looks like listening to the best of your ability. That looks like coming in here, and so I did this. I played a lot of sports, and we worked with like it's like a movie reel in your head. Like you can play a situation in your mind, and it's like a movie, and you're in it, and you kind of walk through what you're gonna do. And when you do that, I feel like it gives you a lot of confidence, I guess, but an ability to follow through.
Okay. And so why does that look like all in for you?
Commitment.
Okay.
Yeah, you're committed to what you're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that to me is all in.
Yeah. Okay.
And you're willing to do what is necessary to make that happen.
Cool.
So it doesn't really matter what comes in the way. You just keep going.
Just a big step of faith.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. It's like climbing a mountain. It's like, can be very difficult, but you just keep going.
Yeah. When you were starting out, were you working like super long hours and?
Yes.
Yeah.
Putting in time and doing very mundane, I'm the person that I believe you go clean the toilet when the toilet needs to be cleaned. Absolutely. I would like to be a person that, that person that has a very modest house and has a ton of money in the bank. Do you know what I mean? Like, you don't have to, Yeah.
You're not big into flexing.
No, the flex to me is different. I would feel incredibly satisfied with my life if God would say, you just followed me so well. I could just say, hey Jess, you got this? Yep, got it. That would be my
so what could you see yourself like spending a whole bunch of money on?
Spending a whole bunch of money. Probably a really fast car.
Really?
Oh man. Yeah.
Okay, what kind of car?
Probably I'm more interested in the speed. I'm not so interested in so my son would probably say, it goes this fast, it's like this, whatever. I'm like, well, if it looks pretty and it goes really fast, I don't actually care what it is.
Okay.
Same with a horse.
Okay.
I used to ride racehorses, and this one horse that I was riding him. He was like hilarious. He looked like a quarter horse. He didn't look like a thoroughbred. Tall. He was a short, squatty little horse, and super plain looking. But he was a hot rod. So he was 2, and I was working him around the track, and I was like, this guy, he doesn't really want to run. Like most horses kind of want to, they get that
Right.
kind of competition, they want to run.
Yeah.
So I asked my friend, I'm like, come out, meet me in the morning with the horse, and I want you to help me with this horse. So she comes in, and I said, come right up beside me and just ride your horse with your nose just right beside his, and then just go ahead a little bit, and then come back and go ahead a little bit. And this horse didn't care. He just was going along. He's so chill, like super chill. Just loping along, and then he starts looking over, and he sees this horse go back and forth, and you can see his little brain figuring out competition. And we did that for a couple mornings, and I tell you what, we lit a fire under that horse. He ended up winning the Canadian Derby. Okay. And he was like this little horse that was like so just not looking like a racetrack star, you know. Anyway, he just
he had that fire.
Yep.
So do you have competition where
tons of competition?
Okay.
Yeah. Tons of competition. And I refuse to look at it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you
gotta put blinders on.
Okay.
You get I mean, it depends on who you are. You will get distracted by, there's so many things to distract you. So many things.
Do you learn things from your competition, or you don't even?
Nope.
No. Okay. Cool.
Nope. I just do what I know to do.
Yeah.
And that's good enough.
That's good, yeah. What worked for them might not work for you.
Nope, it's not my lane. That's their lane.
Yeah.
And there's enough for everybody.
For sure.
It does. They're not. They may be in a competition, but they actually aren't.
Yeah.
There's enough for everybody.
That's right.
That's not a mindset that I will have anything to do with.
You do different things. So how will you teach your kids how, like, what they want to go into, or what the next step for them would be? How do you lead them?
Yeah, that's a really good question, because I don't want to put the call on my life and what I'm doing onto them, because they're different people. I'm trying to equip them, but they might have different roads to go. So I'm actually not sure about that. I can give them what I know. I do think we go from glory to glory, though. So I will do better than my parents. My kids will do better than me. I hope that my kids do better than me in everything. So there comes a point where I don't really have a whole lot to say, but I think when you do know, then you do everything you can to share that. And that's it. If you don't know, as a parent, I feel like you need to be quiet.
Yeah.
So I don't say a whole lot about that stuff unless I really know.
Okay.
Yeah, I let my kids figure that out. That's between them and God and their life.
Okay. Yeah. So how did you balance having that business and then being a mom as well?
Very much like getting ready for playing sports, like kind of stewarding my life properly. So I feel like if I steward my what I'm eating, how I'm taking care of my body physically, how I'm taking care of my mind, how I'm taking care of my spiritual appetite, if I'm taking care of those things, that will actually lead me to a really good balance with my kids and my work. And so being sensitive to what God is doing on many levels. So my grandmother would say, you look for God in your life and watch for him, and then align yourself with what he's doing. So I'm following. I've often been put in a leadership position in my life, but I feel like such a follower. So, because that is the biggest thing to me. So I look for what God is doing in my world. My neighbors, my kids, my husband, my friends. I look for what he's doing, and then I follow him in that.
This is an interesting question. I'm thinking of. Do you think that like the world will end in the near future, within the next 10, 15 years?
On September, no, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
I don't know about everybody else, but I've always felt like I'm probably gonna have to die for what I believe,
Sure, yeah.
and that's okay.
For sure.
But
it's the best way to go.
Yeah, It's terrifying reading the Bible and reading about how everybody died, or like, I'm like, oh,
But if you study it, they like lots of them didn't feel pain.
totally. And you get to that point, but the first part when you're like,
Right.
that's gruesome. Like
Yeah.
there's such gory stuff, and life can be so gory, and
Mhm.
I do not like the gory part of life.
Mhm.
But it's there, and God does give you what you need when you need it. That is no question. Yeah, I think that the world could end at any point, but it does seem like in the next, I don't know, 5 years, there's a lot of stuff
Yeah, a lot of
going
stuff going
on.
on.
Yeah, yeah, and just like I've been studying, there's this other podcast about, I think it's called Faith and Friction. They're talking about the fig tree and watching
Right.
the
Yeah.
seasons and stuff, and I was like, oh,
It's pretty crazy. Yeah. Like
yeah,
a lot of it just points to something happening in the near future. So yeah. So just interested in what you had to say about that.
yes, I would agree. Yes.
Okay. I think we're just about done here. Do you have anything else you wanna add?
No, I don't think so.
Nothing?
Yep.
Nothing coming to mind?
Let me see here.
Sometimes the best stuff that comes out is the stuff that I
Ringers
say. Yeah.
come at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I think you asked some great questions. I think it's
Cool.
I think you're on a cool journey.
Thanks for coming on the podcast.
Yeah, absolutely.
So there was one last thing that we remembered as soon as we shut the cameras off. So she was talking about you writing music.
Yes. And anything creative, like you mentioned timing before. Timing is such a big issue in life. It really is. If you can be someone who can steward something really big and be quiet about it, you'll be given big things. Because you need to wait for the right time. It's not going to be big if you release it at the wrong time.
Mm-hmm.
But at the right time, it's going to be huge and it's very important and impactful. So, and when you do something creative, like a podcast, like writing a song, you're stewarding something, and timing is essential. You could be writing a song, and it's actually for somebody like 50 years later, and that's the timing of it. Mm-hmm. And you have to be able to handle the disappointment or the like, why did I do that? Like, why did we even do that? That wasn't actually that important, and it didn't even matter.
Mm-hmm.
Because you want things to matter, and,
right.
and that's a big deal.
Yeah.
So you have to be able to steward that without getting disappointed and it stopping you from being creative. I think so many people are creative. I mean, I feel like that's how we're made.
Yeah.
And they're stopped because they don't see the results. But look at Hebrews 11. Those people all died. Huge, massive faith. Mm-hmm. And they all died with the things not happening at the time when they were alive. Yeah. So, and that God looked at that as not a bad thing. Yeah. So if God sees that as not a bad thing, we have to be okay with just releasing things and giving them to God and watching Him. The timing is His.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I remember the main thing about a startup is timing for sure. That's always what it is. Mm-hmm. And obviously God's timing is completely different than ours. So being able to trust that God knows what's going on is huge.
Some people call it magic. Whenever I hear somebody say magic, I'm like, they're actually saying timing.
Okay.
That's not what that is. It's timing.
Okay, how so?
Magic is timing. So people will say, oh, that's magic, or this is... It's not. It's because the timing was right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Crazy. Okay,
yeah.
Cool. That's it.
That's it.
Thank you everyone for listening. If you guys learned something or found it interesting, please share the video with someone, as it helps me out a lot. Thanks.